From golden thrones to lonely nights, King Charles III's life is a royal paradox. He may have the world at his feet, but does he have happiness in his heart? He's got palaces, priceless jewels, and a crown as sweet, but is all that glitters really gold? Let's find out. Born in 1948, Charles Philip Arthur George entered the world as heir apparent to the British throne. From day one, his life was mapped out for him. While other kids played in sandboxes, young Charles was learning proper etiquette and the weight of royal duty. Buckingham Palace may seem like a childhood dream, but for Charles, it was often a lonely place. His parents, Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, were frequently away on royal tours. Charles was mostly raised by nannies and staff. Still, it wasn't all bad. Charles had access to the finest education money could buy. He attended prestigious schools like Cheam and Gordonstown. Later, he became the first heir apparent to earn a university degree, graduating from Cambridge. But even with the best schooling, Charles struggled to fit in. His sensitive nature and artistic interests often clashed with the expectations placed on a future king. While his classmates dreamed of becoming astronauts or rock stars, Charles knew his path was already set in stone. Now let's talk about the insane real estate portfolio King Charles oversees. Buckingham Palace, with its 775 rooms, is just the tip of the iceberg. There's Windsor Castle, a massive fortress that's been a royal home for over 900 years. It's got 1,000 rooms and sits on 13 acres. Talk about a weekend getaway. Then we've got Balmoral Castle in Scotland, a favorite summer retreat of the royals. It's surrounded by 50,000 acres of breathtaking countryside, perfect for those royal hunting trips. Sandringham House in Norfolk is another gem. It's been in the family since 1862 and hosts the royal Christmas celebrations. Imagine unwrapping presents in a 20,000-acre estate. Charles doesn't actually own most of these properties. They belong to the Crown Estate, a collection of properties held in trust for the nation. Charles is more like a super fancy caretaker. He does personally own Highgrove House in Gloucestershire. It's his private residence and passion project. Charles has spent years turning its gardens into an organic paradise. It's one place where he can truly be himself.
Over-exploiting and damaging nature by not understanding how much we depend on.
Now, let's talk cash. King Charles isn't just rich, he's got an amazing fortune that would make Scrooge McDuck jealous. Forbes estimates Charles's personal wealth at around $500 million, but that's just pocket change compared to what he oversees as monarch. The Crown Estate, which Charles manages but doesn't own, is worth a whopping $42 billion. It includes prime London real estate, farmland, and even the seabed around the UK. Talk about diverse investments. Then there's the Duchy of Lancaster, a private estate that generates income for the monarch. It's worth about $950 million and brought in $27 million in 2022 alone. Charles also inherited his mother's private collection of jewels, art, and rare stamps. While the exact value is unknown, it's estimated to be worth hundreds of millions. And let's not forget the royal collection, including the crown jewels. It's valued at an eye-watering $12.7 billion. Though Charles doesn't personally own these treasures, he gets to wear that crown. The best part? Charles doesn't pay inheritance tax thanks to a deal made with the government in 1993. We're talking about gems that make Hollywood bling look like plastic toys. The Imperial State Crown alone has nearly 3,000 precious stones, including the 317-carat Cullinan II diamond. Charles wears this bad boy at the state opening of Parliament. Then there's the Royal Collection of Art. We're not talking about some paintings from the local gallery. This collection includes masterpieces by Leonardo da Vinci, Rembrandt, and Michelangelo. Charles basically lives in a museum. Let's not forget the Royal Yacht. While the old Royal Yacht Britannia was decommissioned in 1997, there's talk of a new $200 million vessel in the works. Because sometimes you just need to sail the seven seas in style, right? And cars? The Royal Mews houses a fleet of luxury and historic vehicles. There's the Gold State Coach, used for coronations. It's literally covered in gold leaf. For everyday use, Charles prefers his vintage Aston Martin, which he's had converted to run on wine and cheese. Yes, you heard that right, wine and cheese. But here's where our story takes a turn. All this luxury comes at a price, and it's not just measured in pounds and pence. Charles has spent his entire life in the public eye. Every move, every word is scrutinized.
Yet all knew that both victory and failure were possible.
Imagine having your awkward teenage years plastered across newspapers worldwide. Not fun. His love life has been a particular source of pain. We all know the tragic story of his marriage to Queen Diana. What should have been a fairy tale turned into a very public nightmare. The pressure to marry someone suitable led to years of unhappiness for both Charles and Diana. Even his relationship with Camilla, now his wife and queen, faced intense public backlash for years. It's only recently that public opinion has softened. Then there's the constant pressure of duty. Charles has spent over 70 years preparing to be king. That's 7 decades of being the heir in waiting. Imagine spending most of your life preparing for a job you can only get when your parent dies. Talk about a weird career path. Charles has also faced criticism for his outspoken views on issues like architecture and the environment. As King of Wales, he often spoke his mind. But as king, he's expected to remain politically neutral. It's a tough transition for someone who's always been passionate about making a difference. Despite being surrounded by people, Charles often seems lonely. His upbringing, while privileged, was emotionally distant. He's spoken about feeling isolated as a child and struggling to connect with his father. Even now, as king, Charles faces a unique kind of loneliness. He's at the top of a very small pyramid. There's no one else who truly understands the pressures he faces. His relationship with his sons, especially Prince Harry, has been strained in recent years. The public rift in the royal family has undoubtedly taken an emotional toll on Charles. The relationship between King Charles III and his younger son, Prince Harry, has faced some challenges in recent years. After Prince Harry's decision to step back from royal duties and move to the United States with his wife, Meghan Markle, there have been reports of tensions between the father and son. However, the two have made efforts to reconcile, particularly following the death of Queen Elizabeth II in 2022. And let's not forget the constant scrutiny. Every wrinkle, every gray hair, every slight misstep is analyzed and critiqued. It's enough to make anyone paranoid. Recently, King Charles faced another challenge: a cancer diagnosis. While the exact type of cancer hasn't been disclosed, it's clear that this health scare has added another layer of stress to Charles's life. He's had to step back from public duties to focus on his treatment. This diagnosis is a stark reminder that even with all the wealth and privilege in the world, health is something money can't always buy. It's also forced Charles to confront his own mortality at a time when he's just stepped into his role as king. The silver lining? The diagnosis seems to have brought the royal family closer together. Even Prince Harry flew in from California to be with his father. Sometimes it takes a crisis to remind us what's truly important. So there you have it, folks. King Charles III may have palaces, jewels, and a crown, but his life isn't always a fairy tale. It's a reminder that luxury doesn't always equal happiness. From a lonely childhood to public scandals, from the pressure of duty to health scares, Charles has faced many challenges. Yet he's also used his position to champion causes he believes in, like environmental conservation and urban planning. All that glitters is not gold, even when it's a royal crown. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.